Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and I hope all of you are having a fantastic day because we have an entire show lined up for you where we are going to cover new products, news, and just anything that catches our eye because obviously, hey, if you've been paying attention this week, it has been CES all week long. And of course, that's a lot of fun. We take a very broad kind of a overarching view of CES. And then, of course, as the show goes on in the coming weeks and months, we will have the individual products here on the program to talk about, what's new, what's different, what have they been working on. And hey, it's a lot of fun and more of that today. And just a little sneak peek, a little deviation, of course, we have everything set up. If everything goes to plan, then we will do a recap with the team over at PopZara. They have been out there at CES, laying down the footwork and really doing a good job of trying to see everything that there is to see out there at CES. It's almost an impossible task with thousands of vendors, thousands of products on display, but they're doing their best. And yeah, we should be recording a segment here tomorrow, and then that one should go out on Monday. So of course, that's going to be our grand CES wrap up. What are the trends? What are the what was really the standout of the show? And again, all of that will be with our friends over at PopZara. So, looking forward to that. And then one other announcement I guess I should make just to put it out there. Of course, all week long, IRN has been down. They'll be back up and running next Monday, and we look forward to that. But here for ourselves at Computer America, for anyone out there who normally listens on IRN, well, you're in for a treat because we will be rerunning this week's shows next week. We have something coming up in our personal lives here for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I believe. Monday and Friday should continue to be safe, but Monday again is the CES 2019 recap, but Tuesday through Thursday we have some personal appointments to attend to, so Computer America will be running a best of during those days. Just a little heads up, and we should be back on it on Friday. We have an interview set up on Friday with a great company, and in the meantime, everyone, catch those if you didn't have a chance to hear those this week. So, as I said before, welcome into the Computer America Show, and today on the program, computer and technology news. And before we get started, computeramerica.com, that is our website. That's where you'll find everything from show notes, product reviews, articles, anything like that, you can find there at computeramerica.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the live video stream, which you can also find at twitch.tv/computeramerica. And last but not least, of course, please check out the website where we will have social media contests up and going here shortly. And that, as always, is brought to you by Logitech. Okay, and all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started with today's news, because yesterday we had 20 some odd stories lined up, articles and products and things like that. We got to a lot of them, not knocking what we did yesterday, but we have just about as full of a plate as we did yesterday today. So why don't we go ahead and get started here. So computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Here we go. So I think for our first story, and I like this one because it was one of those stories that really puts technology into perspective. And to do that, there's a lot of ways you can, kind of say, well, back in my day, things were X small, X expensive, and X, cumbersome to use. Well, this one I think really takes the cake because Lexar, they make digital memory. I think they also did printers once in a while. But Lexar, they're long in the industry, and they had their own announcement out at CES. So check this one out. CES 2019, Lexar releases the first ever 1 terabyte SDXC card. So SD, I think everyone knows what an SD card is. The little kind of chip thing fits in the palm of your hand and slips into a camera, a phone, what have you. And SDXC probably means like high capacity or extreme capacity, whatever the marketing is for it. But again, the lead was buried in there. Lexar releases the first ever 1 terabyte SD card. So yeah, again, the thing that fits in the palm of your hand is now 1 terabyte. That is probably bigger than a lot of hard drives a lot of you have on your computers right now. And these things are, of course, a standard SD card. So, and again, why this kind of puts it into perspective is because I think it's the 15th anniversary, I want to say, or just 15 years since Lexar, the same company, put out their first 1 gigabyte SD card. So 15 years ago, they had a 1 gigabyte on the market, and that was cutting edge. That was, wow, what are we going to do with all these photos and videos that we can store on a 1 gigabyte SD card? And now, 15 years later, we are staring down the barrel of a 1 terabyte card. This is pretty incredible stuff. So I want to go ahead and get started with this. And yeah, so if you've been searching for a high capacity SD card to capture your 1080p full HD images or 4K video, and that's really the key thing there, you wonder 1 terabyte on a single card, who is ever going to need that much storage? And I've said this for a while. The more tools you give people, like having the ability to have uncompressed full 4K video, things like that. Like if you give people the equipment, they will find a use for it. And we already have plenty of uses for extreme storage. So this is awesome. Lexar has just delivered, again, the answer to these problems. At the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, of course, that will be a theme all for today as we go into day 3. The company has announced it is releasing a 633X. So if you're looking for a product name, 633X. How sexy. This is the 633X SDXC UHSI card with 1 terabyte capacity, which I'm sure you could just, kind of punch in 1 terabyte SD card, and this will be one of the only ones to actually pop up. Designed to be used in your mid-range DSLR, HD camcorder, or 3D camera, Lexar notes that the card offers read speeds of up to 633x, which is 95 megabytes per second. So there's your there's why the 633x. 95 megabytes per second when capturing and transferring 1080p Full HD, 3D, and 4K video. This thing is I want to say it's specialized, but at the same time, I think everyone could use a bit more storage and memory. And hey, if you have the equipment, this is what you've been hoping for. So with that being said, key features again, high speed, high performance, 1 terabyte capacity, write speeds of up to 70 megabytes per second. That means that you can actually keep your 4K videos that you record and not just lose every other frame. And they also have ideal for images in 1080p full HD, 3D, and 4K. And they have a quote here from the company, and then we'll move on to the next one. And by the way, we'll also get to the price because so very few of the announcements out at CES actually include a price tag. Looking at you, Kohler, but I take it back. Kohler did have with their toilet, they did have a $7,000 price tag. But I digress. Back onto the SD card. Almost 15 years ago, Lexar, and again, quote from the company, Lexar announced a 1 gigabyte SD card. And today we are excited about the 1 terabyte storage capacity in the same convenient form factor. And as consumers continue to demand greater storage for their cameras, the combination of high-speed performance with a 1 terabyte option now offers a solution for content creators who shoot large volumes of high-resolution images and 4K video. There you go. The card is the first 1 terabyte option to make it to the market and to be available for purchase. Of course, when you're looking at the the cutting edge of this, and really when you think about a professional photographer, they have these cards, and they won't just have one of them. The goal is not to have just one SD card that you go with. No, these things are easily swappable, and you have multiple. So, maybe a photographer who has a day out, maybe, would upgrade from, let's say they're a couple generations behind. Let's say they have nothing but 128 gigabyte storage SD cards, and they upgrade all to 1 terabyte. Suddenly you are looking at, 8 times less. So, let's say you have 20, you can whittle that down to like 3 or 4. So that's the goal here. It certainly has its niche case because the price tag, here we go. And actually, I think I have something for this. Let me see. There we go. So let's see. I think I have, do I have drum roll? No, I do not. All right. Well, I know. I'm looking for the drum roll, and I don't. Like, the best I have is like a duck. So instead of a drum roll, we're gonna do this. So here we go. All right. Hopefully that worked. Probably not. All right. So the drum, anyways, $400. $400 for the pleasure of having a 1 terabyte. For having a 1 terabyte storage device. It's pretty darn cool. But at $400, not many people are going to go for it. I'm sure that if you got 2 500 gig cards, it'd be much more convenient, or at least much more cost effective than $400. But you're paying for the form factor, the research, and, well, the novelty of it all. So there you go. And hey, I guess the duck worked. So so there you go. So, okay, why don't we go ahead and switch stories here, trying something here. So, okay, again, everything CES. Let's check out some of the other, topics coming out of CES, and there's a lot of them. Searching over here, why don't we talk about? All right, this one was pretty cool. So, it's no joke that there are a lot of older cars on the road. It's something that happens. I'm sure that the car industry and everyone else out there who drives a car wishes they were driving a model year 2019, 2020 car with all the latest safety features and things like that. And one of the safety features, like, even though it's been out for a couple of years, rear view camera, backup camera, it's not anything too unique for cars even 5 years ago. But it's something that a lot of older cars are missing. So that's why we have this device here. And let's see. I think I had it here. Here we go. And this is an article from Engadget. And if you don't have rear view cameras and backup sensors and things like that, then this product coming out of CES might be for you. Where Fensense, so I guess like a fender, F-E-N-Sense, S-E-N-S. Fensense gives your clunker the same backup sensing as modern cars. So maybe not cameras, but at least alerts you that, hey, you are about to run over your neighbor. And that could be good. So here we go, Engadget again, Chris Valesco. And saying that, remember when CES wasn't flooded with cars? None of us are about to complain about the cars becoming more intelligent and customizable. And I got to say, even a couple of years ago, car companies, when you look at the general tech landscape, there aren't as many companies in the tech world that can throw around money like the car world can. So that's why they're a natural fixture at CES. They have they have the money and they have the technology. And now here we go, FenSens. This Seattle-based startup has developed an aftermarket rear sensor that you can, rear sensor that you can stick to the back of your car just to make sure you don't take anyone out as you're about to leave the grocery store. And of course, stick. The author's being tongue-in-cheek. It's not really a stick. If you're watching the video portion, you can see a picture of it here. Installs with 2 screws. Honestly, not that big a deal. And they said that the process doesn't take more than a few minutes to actually get one of these things installed. So he said that once that's done, data from the sensor is sent to a smartphone you'd ideally have to mount on your dash or air vent. So I think the smartphone as a navigation device for a lot of people who drive a lot is a pretty natural thing. A lot of us use our smartphones as our navigation devices. So it shouldn't, that shouldn't be anything weird. So the app, here we go. So the app can provide you with audio, visual, and even haptic alerts to make sure that everyone around the car is safe. I guess there's a camera built into it, there's microphones built into it, and there are motion sensors built into it so that your phone can then alert you that, hey, you are currently or about to, I hope about to, not currently, running over the neighbor's bike or something like that. Now, FenSens launched its backup sensor last year and has spent the time in the interim prepping a new product, and that is a wireless backup camera for vehicles big and small. And it's heartening to see that the startup makes sure vehicles that aren't necessarily brand new. But of course, the history has proven that the market is tougher to crack than some might expect. And the article here goes into another company named Pearl who tried and wasn't able to actually get things going. But we're not taking the failures of others and applying them to FenSens. We hope the best. They said that the team's rather small, so the burn rate is probably less of a problem. And at $179 for the pleasure, check this thing out. Its backup detection system is far less costly than Pearl, the other failed company, and its $400 price tag, so it's less than half the price. That's something. Ultimately, people who haven't purchased cars in a few years deserve the same level of intelligence. The same level of intelligence that makes new models so safe. So here's hoping FenSens can manage its growth responsibly. I think it's pretty cool. I think adapting older cars with newer technology is a no-brainer. And if it's as DIY as this, as opposed to, hey, take this into a mechanic or an aftermarket shop and have them install it for you, rather, you take off your old license plates cover and you put this one on instead, then that makes all the sense in the world. And I think this is going to be, pretty cool. I have a car that doesn't have a backup sensor, FenSens. If you're listening to this, hey, we love to review it for you. So there you go. Another cool product out from CES, and they're right. Car stuff is abound. Trust me, you are going to be hearing a lot about cars. And actually, we have another article exactly on that. Although this is from CBC, and I think it's like the Canadian broadcast something or other. But yeah, so CBC, they have an article here talking about the trend in cars and what they saw out at CES. And I'll admit, what you see at CES isn't indicative of what you are going to see in the real world. It's just not the same thing. There are a lot of concept cars and demos and things that will probably never make it to market, but you can see that that's where the most imaginative people from Mercedes, Ford, Honda, Hyundai, from all the major car manufacturers, it's where the most imaginative people try to put out the most innovative, eye-catching product possible. And hey, so if it's not in cars in 5 years, it might be in cars in 10 years. This is what they're working towards. And they said that one of the biggest trends in cars, well, are screens. And if you think about cars today, there's already screens that are built into the center console where, the radio and things like that used to be. Has now turned into a monitor. I mean, you could look at things like Tesla or really any modern car. They're going to have a tablet essentially built into the center console. Well, that's only going to continue. And they even have a dashboard here of the Byton M-Byte electric vehicle. And it's the entire dashboard essentially turns into a singular touchscreen interface. And so you can do everything from video calls, watch movies, get updates on your car, your odometer, speedometer, all that kind of stuff would be built into the touchscreen. And heck, even the 2019 EQC crossover features two 10.25-inch displays behind a glass surface forming a freestanding screen. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of screens in cars' futures, and there's absolutely a reason for that, and it's because people will be driving less and looking for entertainment more. We aren't at the self-driving Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Thank you, chatter in the chat room. Thank you. So CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and really just goes to show that as people stop having to pay attention to the road, because even today we have tools available to us that essentially let us drive hands-free on highways. Although you should always, of course, monitor the road and be ready to take control at any moment, that's only going to get worse and worse and worse, where eventually, there's a future that all the car companies are planning for, where people get into cars, but they never actually drive. They never have to pay attention behind the wheel. That means you have a captive audience for anywhere from 10, 30, an hour, long car rides, multiple hours. You have a captive audience where you can advertise to, sell products to, where you have to entertain, and hey, people, just like at home, are going to need products to fill their lives. And, you don't have to. You can go Amish and, go have a simpler lifestyle. But we are a society of Netflix and, voice communication and iMessaging. And we are a society that craves constant stimulation. That's why car companies are planning to give that to us, and they're going to charge a monthly fee to do so. So, hey, expect screens. Scrolling through the article a bit more, they have more product pictures you can see here. Again, this is the Mercedes-Benz digital dashboard, and it was pretty darn cool, where it extends from the passenger side all the way to the driver's side behind the steering wheel. And let's say as the driver's driving, the screen behind the steering wheel would turn into your gauges. And the rest of the screen would be dedicated to, comfort control, AC, music control, maybe videos, entertainment, things like that. Probably very distracting. So that's why we're going to need devices that, or at least we're going to need the self-driving car tech, because as these things enter the car, distracted driving is only going to become worse. So the next screen here is also the Byton M-Byte SUV, where they take about the same approach. They stretch a monitor all the way across the dash of the dashboard. Makes sense. So, in the article, has some great interviews here talking about it's what consumers are going to want. Clarity is key, saying that automakers say that if done properly, a bigger screen can enhance safety by providing more useful information, such as lights about to turn red, accident alerts, or road conditions ahead. Obviously, giving more information to a person, if they are a good multitasker, is actually a very good thing. Giving people a heads up that before a light even turns yellow, which then gives you about 3 seconds, even that can be variable depending on where you're from. Instead of saying, hey, 3 seconds, hurry up and react, they can say this light that you're approaching won't turn red for another 17 seconds. So you know that, there's zero chance of it turning yellow or anything like that. Very, very cool stuff. So they also have some stuff about the Ford Explorer and 10-inch display in there. Essentially, CBC article boils down to screens are coming to cars, and from the looks of it, a lot of them are thinking, how do we get the most screen real estate in front of people? Because, as we said, they're just, that's what people are going to want. Pretty darn cool. Pretty cool. So, yeah, let's see. So, with that being said, lots of other stories here. How about... okay. LG. They have been making more headlines than I think any other TV manufacturer out there. And that's really saying something, because you have the likes of Sony and Samsung and Vizio are normally the big attention getters. Instead, now, LG, this is the third article we are covering about them, and it's pretty darn impressive. Here we go. LG's Laser 4K doesn't need a lot of space for a big picture. So if you're keeping tally, the first LG we ever did was the LG 4K OLED R, and the R was for rollable, where the screen would kind of pop up and roll out. And by the way, about that TV, very, very interesting. And at the same time, I saw so much hate for that television, because people online were like, oh great, now I have to wait 7 minutes for the TV to come up every time I want to watch something, and by the time it comes up I won't be able to watch it. And it gives you the feeling that they didn't even see the product demo. Like, if they took, if people took the attitude that they were giving the rollable television, I'm surprised more garage doors don't look like they're caved in because someone repeatedly rammed them. It's about the same speed at which a garage door opens and closes. And again, I think that a lot of people, they turn on their TVs and they wait for it to, find the source, go to the cable box, load up content. It's about the same time. People will complain about anything, but I digress. New TV. So LG rollable TV, that was the first one. The second one was LG with their monitor. They had a super wide 49-inch 38 by 9 or 32 by 9, something like that, aspect ratio, ultra wide monitor. That was pretty cool. And then this next one here, it's a TV. LG's Laser 4K doesn't need a lot of space for big picture, saying that the cramped show floor is a good place to show off how this projector operates. And they said that LG isn't the first company bringing 4K short throw projectors to CES. And by the way, we saw that from, I think Epson was the other company that's doing this. And short throw, if you aren't familiar, these are boxes that sit pretty much right up against walls. You can back them out a couple inches depending on, how big you want your television. And of course, it depends on the size of your wall. But you put the short throw projector right up against your wall, probably on the, they have some on that mount to the ceiling. They have some that sit on the floor. And you really don't see anything other than this little crease, this little, kind of slit across the top. And out comes your projection. And it's kind of pointed up at such an angle, and obviously all the engineering, you can think about distorting an image so that when it's thrown up on, let's say, a specific angle so that the screen is displayed as a 90 or 120 inch, which is what this LG short throw is. Let's say 120 inches, the entire image comes out of that little beam of light and turns into a 120 inch display. Pretty darn cool. They said, sure, you could always get a hideaway rolling OLED to do the same job. That's kind of a joke because LG does the same thing. But even without revealing the price, he's going to assume this will be a cheaper option, because the rollable TV, we did not get a price for that. But their previous generation without the rolling technology was in the neighborhood of like 15,000, I think. So that one would probably be in the neighborhood of like 25,000. And they said that this one, just to skip ahead, and you can even see a picture of it here, kind of currently being used. This one costs about 10,000. So it's going to be much, much more affordable. The picture's obviously not going to be as good because you can't compare you can't compare a short throw projector to a OLED. It's just not going to stand up at all. But I think it's pretty cool. Projectors are always something worthy to keep in mind. And everyone, music means we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. More Computer America right after this. Everyone, stay tuned.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
That one. There we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Computer America Show. And let's see if we can drop everything down here. Welcome into the Computer America Show. We are 2 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And yeah, why don't we go ahead and continue on with computer and technology news. If you miss any part of today's program, please feel free to check out the podcast, which the full directory at computeramerica.com, or wherever podcasts are heard. Simply punch in Computer America and you'll be good to go. Okay, now with all that being said, let's go ahead and get the view instead of outside our office. Why don't we go ahead and talk about So we just finished up LG's 4K short throw projector. Pretty cool. I think that's a solution for anyone out there who maybe doesn't have the floor space for a TV, the wall space for a TV, or you like something that's compact, isn't actually physically on the wall. This is a pretty good option. Obviously, on the show floor, and this is just something I want to make about projectors. This is something that it's not going to be as good as an OLED, probably not even as good as an LED, but it's going to be perfectly fine if you are in a dark room, preferably windowless, and the way that I think a lot of us like it, and not a lot of natural light. Obviously, the showroom floor, such as on CES, where they have great lighting, you are not going to be able to see the true effects. They have a kind of like a walk-in booth that you went to go see. But if you have a space with a lot of windows and things like that, then a projector probably isn't where you want to go with it. Just a heads up, something that we've noticed. Okay, and let's see. So that one is done. We can go ahead and we are continuing on. It's day 3 of CES coverage. It is the last day. CES usually wraps up about now. The party's still going on in Vegas. It is what it is. But I think most of it, and actually, funny story, when I went to CES, Day 3 was like kind of like when you were the last class at like the school toy fair. Like all the vendors are still there, still manning the booths, but they're like pulling out their phones and texting their friends and telling their loved ones, I can't wait to be back home. They kind of look up at you and wave, and if you poke them hard enough, they'll show you around. But all the excitement is really bottled into the first 2 days. And day 3 is kind of like the wind down day. Not a lot of people save their big announcement for day 3 of CES. With that being said, though, we have seen some very, very cool news come out of there. Now, let's see. So looking at it, CES 2019, day 3, why don't we go ahead and talk about... All right. How about we talk about VR? VR in cars, just real quick. This ties into one of the articles that we did the other day. And that had to do, or not the other day, but earlier in the hour, where Holoride, however you want to say it, kind of like hologram, in-car VR solution is the best thing at CES 2019. Opinion piece, Matt Burns, and this is really something that I think a lot of people are curious about, because when it comes to traveling, either airplane, car ride, train ride, whatever, VR has the ability to make that time really fly by. And the question is, though, where you take a technology that traditionally makes people motion sick. There's no lying about it. VR can make people motion sick, and it can happen very quickly. So you think, but Ben, what happens when you cover someone's eyes, put them in a car, take turns they aren't expecting, and also strap a device onto their face that traditionally makes people car sick? You'd think that would be double car sickness. Well, hey, maybe not. They said that this year's CES is fine. The main theme is connecting services around the smart home. There's a huge range of devices that support Amazon, Google, Apple. CES 2019 also featured the launch of the new silicon chipsets and self-driving platforms, which we've talked about. And he said, but the thing that impressed him the most was Holoride, a startup from Audi that wants to put VR in cars to entertain and actually reduce motion sickness. There you go, reduce it. They said that Iron Man needs help, Rocket told me, and like that, I was thrust into a space battle against Thanos. Thanos' bad guys. There was an Oculus on my head, and my body was dipping and diving, shooting through space, while I was waving my hands around, blasting the enemy. It was straight out of Disney World, where if you've ever been to Disney, that's essentially the same atmosphere they want to put you in. And they said, except he was in Vegas in the back seat of an Audi SUV, hitting speeds of 90 miles an hour on a track. That's pretty fast. That's So after 2 laps around the track, he walked away fine. He didn't feel sick, even though he's the sort of person who can't look at their phone in the car. He said that matching the VR content to the vehicle's movements, I think that's the key part there, is key to the Holoride's experience. In short, when the car moves, the content moves the same way. This reduces motion sickness, and from his demo, he can confirm it at least works on him. The technology comes from a small startup recently spun out of Audi, and in a play to put VR in every car. Again, the reason this ties in with our earlier stories is that you can look at the idea that car companies are trying to figure out how to put the most screen real estate in cars. And short of, packing the back of the driver and passenger seats with screens, I think having any number of these VR headsets hook right into the car and then be used to, kind of make them go, that is a way to get people in the back seat, kind of entertained and, kind of having fun in the car. Let's see. So, of course, the author says he's experienced countless VR experiences, and this one was one of the best demos he's ever had. The use case is compelling too. Not only does it provide entertainment, but it also solves motion sickness. And I think that's really an important factor. It's easy to imagine that this is an ad-supported platform in the back of an Uber while on a long-distance bus trip. It could work on planes too. It could improve long car rides with the kids. Holoride is a long shot, and there are countless questions around the content, consumer outreach, and compatibility. In order for it to take off, the company would need to build an ecosystem. But again, just as an idea, just something that you see that car companies are wondering, will this work? And, hey, they're displaying at CES, so they've obviously put some kind of effort into this. Hey, maybe VR in cars could be a thing. There you go. So let's see. So there's that one. Let's go ahead, swap on over to, okay. Hearing aids. Not the most appealing of topics. Even though we have talked about hearing aids on the show, hearing aids are perfectly normal. There's obviously the stigma that only old people need them, and they're weird and they look cumbersome, and it's just bad. Well, check this out. Company Eargo Neo. So Ear, E-A-R, Go, G-O, Neo, is a hearing aid that the article says you might just actually want to wear, saying that getting people to wear them is half the battle. And I can agree that is a big part of it. It's just people feel that they are losing the battle on age when they succumb to actually using one of these devices. But check this one out. It's really not that bad. The way that it looks is very, very nice, and that has to be a big part of it. So this comes to us from Engadget, and they said that 6 years ago, the author faced a choice: risk facial paralysis or potentially lose some hearing in his left ear, saying that he opted for the latter, and 2 surgeries later, his ability to hear mid and high range frequencies on one side is notably diminished. And yeah, they said that he's tried several hearing aids since then, and while some have worked well for a combination of reasons, he says that he rarely sticks with them. And again, this is obviously a piece by the author, really personal to his experiences, but this could help some of you out there. Enter the Eargo Neo, a hearing aid that, by judging from his list of reasons not to wear them, was pretty much made for people like him. Eargo has been around since at least 2015 with a couple of products under its belt. Always what you want to hear. You don't want a company that's like, hey, this is our first and only product. We hope this goes well, otherwise we're going to go. No, they have a couple products, and they said that this week at CES, the company announced its latest model, saying that the Neo, and of course he's wearing it as he, writes this article. You can hear him hearing as he writes this. No, I don't know. But he says that I've been wearing it for a couple of days. Importantly, I might even go as far as to say I find myself wanting to to wear it. The Neo, along with the rest of Eargo's hearing aids, are small and of the ITE, or in the ear, or invisibility variety. So for those of you who are not in the market for hearing aids, they have over the ear, on the ear, in the ear, and in the ear would be the least noticeable of the hearing aids. They said that this one thing alone, while far from unique, is a major selling point. And he says that he's never seen hearing aids this small. And if you're looking at the video portion, you can see the product in the author's ear right there. And you're looking dead on into this gentleman's ear. If you're just listening on radio, you're looking dead on into this gentleman's ear, and all you see is like a little black dot, which, hey, oddly enough, you would kind of see if you had nothing in there, because it'd be kind of dark in there. They said that even fairly discreet ones, and of course he said he's tried several behind the ear solutions, even fairly discreet ones, but they all suffer from at least 2 problems. They don't feel secure or just look and feel plain ugly, adding to the stigma. And as someone who wears glasses, there's also an extra minor annoyance, the 2 things vying for the space behind his ears. Makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and skip down a bit into the article, because obviously this will be his, kind of his experiences. But here we go. They said, and just to skim, He says that it looks cool, it looks modern, it certainly does. Black, everything shiny plastic, everything good. He says that even more controlled environment, the boost to audio wasn't quite what he was hoping for. It's nearly there, but I find myself craving just a little bit more. And he gives a name of another one, so it's not the best one, but it's a good one. So this might sound like a big negative. If the audio isn't quite able to repair my hearing, then that surely is the main thing. And he said it is, but then there's so much other good stuff going on here that he still thinks that this is likely his favorite product, because much like a camera, you can buy a camera that's better than your smartphone, but if you carry your smartphone everywhere but not your camera, then guess what? Your smartphone is automatically better than your camera because you have it on hand. He says that the last point, the price costs nearly $2,500 for a pair. And he said that might seem like a lot, but regular hearing aids can typically retail for about $2,000. So this is pretty par for the course. A little bit more expensive, but hey. And if you assume that just means that the Neo is a hearing amplifier, then Eargo claims that it's a Class 1 FDA regulated hearing aid. Whether that means it's working in the same way as something from one of the more traditional manufacturers is unclear, saying that the FDA's definition of a hearing aid is broad. But again, the cool thing here, CES, they showed it off, and they even show like the carrying case where it's like this little circular kind of charging case that you put them into to recharge, and it also doubles as a carrying case. I like it. It really goes to show that just because something is a medical device doesn't mean it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to look good. So check that out. Also at CES, let's see if we can. We're quickly running out of time. Talking about CES always seems to do that. All right, so just real quick, we will go over this recap one. This one from The Verge, and the best laptops from CES 2019. I've heard about a lot of good ones, but we'll see what happens. So this is a roundup of the best laptops. We'll touch on them lightly, and then we'll move on to the next article. But the first one that you might want to keep an eye out for, the Alienware Area 51M. And this is the one I think we covered back on Monday. We said it looked goofy, but at the same time, it had some very compelling features for those who appreciate gaming on a laptop. Because one of the major drawbacks, obviously, of gaming on a laptop is that in 3 years, when there's much better options for CPU, GPU, RAM, things like that, you have to chunk your entire laptop or hand it down or whatever. Instead, the Alienware Area 51M has swappable GPU, CPU, RAM, that kind of thing. That means that built by design, instead of being as sleek and compact as possible, no, it's actually pretty modular, pretty bulky, but that's just what you want for a long-term investment, because that means, hey, if you want to swap out your GPU for something stronger, in 3 years, hey, you might get another 2 years out of this laptop. Definitely appreciate the effort that Alienware put into that, and it's certainly good to see. Let's see. So the next one, Alienware, the M17. So it was the Area 51M. Now we're on the M17. This is a 17-inch desktop replacement. Weighs about 6 pounds. That's right, and starts about $1,700. But it is pretty beefy when it comes to product specs. This is something that you should really get used to. Long gone are the days, or at least I'm hoping, Ultrabooks, they have their place. People will buy them. It is what it is. But there's also a big market for people who want a laptop, not because it's super slim and super convenient, but because, hey, it's a laptop and it's going to do everything that you want a computer to do, not everything you want a laptop to do. So definitely cool there. And to the same effect, the next laptop here, the Razer Blade 15 Advanced with RTX 2080. RTX 2080, one of the latest generation from NVIDIA, and for Razer to be able to fit this into their laptop really shows a lot of, great engineering. Very expensive, obviously $2,300, but at the same time, probably one of the best things you can do. So let's see, the next one and the rest kind of come in a little bit lower spec, but at the same time, if you're looking for a laptop, you are going to have options. Depending on what you are going to do, you're going to have options, such as the next one, Asus Republic of Gamers mothership. It's a tablet with a keyboard that is detachable, but at the same time, it's pretty good. Pretty good. 1080p, 144 hertz screen, i9 processor, lots of RAM, and it's a big, beefy tablet with all the computer innards that you could possibly want, but it detaches from its keyboard and actually becomes a full-fledged tablet. It's going to have its niche case. It's not as powerful as some of the others, and I think, they don't have a price on this one, but I wouldn't doubt if it would be a bit more expensive, but it's going to appeal to someone. So check that out. Lenovo Yoga, the Yoga line, everyone should be familiar with that. Pretty cool. They have a new one coming out, $1,500. Asus Studio Book, that's for designers and students and things like that. And with a highly color accurate monitor. We've talked to Darius Shani, things like that, super important for certain lines of work. LG Gram 17, Dell XPS 13, which I've heard good things about. The Acer Swift 7. If you are one of those diehards that's like, I need that slim laptop, no matter what, I need as low profile as possible, then maybe the Acer Swift 7 would be for you, where if you're looking at the video portion, you can see it there. The really kind of the widest this thing gets is the headphone jack. The 9mm headphone jack takes up the entire width of this laptop. So at its thickest, it's probably about 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. This thing is super, super thin, less than half an inch, crazy thin, and that's where you're going to want it. Let's see. So Spectre, OLED, so great monitor. The point is, it's a great time to be in the market for a laptop, or at least it will be come this holiday season when all these become available, because you're going to have choices. If you're in it for color accuracy, if you're in it for the best screen available, if you're in it for a beefy actual computer that's also a tablet, they got you in hand. If you're looking for a laptop that can actually be upgradable, they have you. Slim, anything that you need, they got you covered. It's a great year for laptops. So, okay, there's that. Don't want to talk about that one. So we have a lot of news stories that aren't CES or aren't directly CES related, and I think because we only have about 5 minutes left, I want to keep it CES related as best we can. So let's talk about. Okay. Let's go ahead, Google Assistant, and this was one of the major themes at CES. We didn't really cover it that much because I'm sure that we'll touch on it tomorrow. The fact, and there was a news story, I think it came out Monday, that Google Assistant, them, saying that Google Assistant is now in about 1 billion devices. And they can claim that number because Android phones, every single Android phone, and there are about 1 billion of them, and then you roll in smart TVs or Chromecast or Google Home Assistant, which are much more rare but also still in the market. There are about 1 billion devices that have a microphone directly linked to Google servers, so people can ask it, what is the weather, what is the capital of Poughkeepsie, whatever. They, Google has a lot of these devices. Alexa for Amazon has about 100 million themselves. The point is, at CES, digital assistant connectivity and integration was everywhere. Digital assistants will be with you in the car. They will be with you in the kitchen. They will be with you in the bedroom. They will be with you at your doctor's office. They will be with you in the bathroom. They will be everywhere. Yes, that Kohler toilet that we were talking about yesterday was Alexa connected. digital assistants are going to be everywhere if they aren't already, everywhere. Now, this article, this one from The Verge, saying that the big question, what kinds of devices are coming with Assistant on board as a key feature? And this is, again, centered around CES. And they talk about some of the devices that are going to have digital assistants built in. And don't have time to get into each one of these products, as much as we would like to. We're going to save these articles and try to get these companies on the show to talk about why they thought this was a good idea and, what does this afford consumers. But here we go, a quick run through. Traditional smart speakers, where we talked about the Sonos smart speaker, will have Google Assistant built in. This article is speaking specifically to Google Smart the line of Google Assistant. So not talking about Alexa or Apple and the Apple Home, HomePod and Home Assist, whatever it is. This one specifically for Google. And the next one, they also said this is a House of Marley's debut smart speaker. This is made of bamboo and aluminum. You can also see that they're scrolling through them on the video portion. So smart speakers, they're definitely coming. They're already here, and more companies are going to be putting out their iterations of it. Makes sense. Perfect. Next one, smart displays. And so you could think of things like Google Home, but where a smart speaker is a speaker, portable, put anywhere around your home, a smart display would be exactly that. A tablet that would sit up somewhere on your kitchen counter, in the bedroom, whatever. It'd be a touch screen or something that could display video. And that is what you're going to see a lot of. So keep an eye out for that. Next one, TVs and soundbars. Should be pretty obvious. If you think about speakers, what is a soundbar other than a massive speaker? So those will be built in with Google Assistant support. And then TVs themselves, smart TVs, I think we all saw this coming. The next iteration of a smart TV, and the definition of a smart TV is essentially a television that can run apps or be connected to the internet and serve you apps. Your TV turns into a perfect platform for digital assistants. And that can also integrate things like DVR with DVR receivers that will be able to have voice assistants built into them. So that one, and look at companies such as JBL, Klipsch, and LG. They will all be able to do that for you as well. The next one, again, fairly obvious. We've mentioned it on the show before. For your car, all the screens in your car, all the functionality that your car is going to be able to do now that it's continuously connected to the internet. A digital assistant would be almost mandatory in controlling what a car does, telling the voice assistant to turn the air up or down, redirect you, whatever. There you go. Next one, voice assistants for your bathroom. This one's weird, but hey, it's what CES has shown off. Kohler, we mentioned the toilet. They're bringing Google Voice. They're bringing Alexa to the bathroom. And they also have another one where it's a smart mirror. So if you don't know what a smart mirror is, think about, as you're brushing your teeth, staring at the mirror, it will be able to display on the surface itself the weather, any appointments, your calendar. Think Corning's Living with Glass, that kind of thing. So it's coming to your bathroom, and it's coming everywhere else, including the kitchen, the rest of your home. Everyone, the robots are upon us. It's time to fight it, or, well, I guess you can pay them money and they can come right into your home. Everyone, the music means that we are done, and thank you. We did not get to any other news other than CES, but that's okay because today was our final day of CES. CES Day 3 done. We will have a full-blown wrap-up next Monday. Mark your calendars. And then, one last time, Tuesday through Thursday, Best of Computer America. And I guess I should say that tomorrow, yeah, you heard me, tomorrow, you can, of course, check out, there we go. Tomorrow, you can, of course, check out Ralph Bond. He will be joining us all hour long as we talk about science and tech news. He is our science and tech trends correspondent. Always a fun time. Everyone, catch you then. Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.